On that note, routines, habits, things that you have done within the last 5 years that have made a positive impact on your life.
So I guess my main deal is, and that's another thing that I'm kind of known for, is I work out. I work out 5-6 days a week. I try to stay in shape. I try to stay in the best shape I can stay in, as old as I am, to be competitive with the young guys, and I know the guys are so talented nowadays, and your age comes about and you start feeling the creaks and the breaks and all the injuries that you've had over the years. And so what I try to do to stay competitive and stay consistent is try to stay in the best shape I can stay in. And so if that takes me working out 5-6 days a week, that's what I do. I still rope the dummy every 3 or 4 days. My dad, when I was growing up, would make me rope the dummy 100 times straight in a row. And if I missed the number 99, I had to start over. And so I implement that in my life. It's just consistency. It's muscle memory. It's just doing those things correct and not developing bad habits. And there's times you develop bad habits because you're injured or you're hurt or something happens where you can't perform to the utmost ability that you are used to, and so you do develop bad habits. And so I always try to train whatever it is and train out the bad habits. Train to the spot where you don't make a mistake because your body won't let you make a mistake. Whatever you do, whether it's baseball, basketball, football, roping, rodeo, whatever it is, I've come to realize in growing older that it is consistency. If I don't go rope that dummy, 100 times every other day, then I'm like, I don't need to rope the dummy. I caught it 115 times in a row, today, and I don't rope it for 6 weeks. Well, then I go to a rodeo and I run across the line and stick it around one of them's eyes, It's like, why'd I do that,
Right.
And, it's because you hadn't been practicing. Yeah. And, a lot of guys, the older they get a little better in their profession or what they do in their hobbies, and so they kind of quit that practice, the basics. Mm-hmm. And it always goes back to the basics, whether it's training a horse, whether it's training a person in football, basketball. The coach always told me when I was playing football, just perform the basics. Everything else will follow after that.
Right.
And so it's that way I implement that in my life, just do the basic things, and that extra stuff will come because of you can do the basics to an elite level.
That's right. And yeah, so physically muscle memory, but also what that's doing is mentally.
Right.
It's creating confidence.
You bet.
You put in the time. You woke up early, or you bet. Put in the time at the gym.
That self-discipline, when it's 115 degrees and it's 40% humidity around here, at 5:30, get done doing your chores and doing your work, and I pick up a rope and go out there and rope the dummy until I'm sweated through my shirt.
Yeah.
And hang it up. My son's like, why you rope that? I'm like, because just like you need to practice. I need to practice. You need to stay sharp, and it's just self-discipline, whether it's getting up in the morning and meditating. And that's another thing that I've done in the last 5 years is I get up in the morning and meditate for 30 minutes. And that kind of sounds goofy in the cowboy world, and it did to me, but I got to listening to a self-discipline book, and just the little things. Make your bed in the morning. Get up in the morning and make your bed. Get up in the morning and meditate. Get up in the morning and learn how to breathe. And I do some jiu-jitsu, and I do some boxing, and do some stuff like that I've implemented into my life that have helped me better my life, make me feel better physically, mentally, emotionally, everything that comes along with that, and it's like, oh hell, what does meditation do? Well, you slow everything down and you figure out how to breathe, and you go back to the basics where it's just everything's clear, everything's calm, you're learning how to breathe, and when you get in a stressful situation, it's just automatic.
The foundation's there.
Yeah.
It's very cool to hear you say that. I never, or not want to say never, but you're right. In the cowboy world, that's not normal, right? Normal, whatever that is. So I do the same thing. Like I meditate, making your bed. Morning routine is very important to me because that's easy. And I don't like 4 seasons make my bed.
No,
you know what I mean?
It's pull the blankets up, put the pillows.
A simple task. It's very achievable. Boom, I've done that.
Right on.
And then I go on to coffee. But meditation, yes, people are like, yeah, why meditate? Well, my goal is not to become the best meditator that I can be, but the goal is to have peace of mind. Now I'm consciously thinking. I'm not going through life on autopilot based on how I was socially conditioned to live my life as a child, you know, because really, if you want to get down to it, the majority of people, and even today, like the way we react to things is based off of something we had that was imprinted on us as children.
You bet.
And so, yes, focusing on the breath, you know, if you're in traffic, you see these people getting crazy, flipping you off, you know, it's like, all right, whatever, you know, and then I go back to my day, but it's like, before I would have reacted to that. And so I read a lot of Stoic philosophy, and Stoicism 101 is control what you can control, you know, and it's like, can I control it? No, I don't worry about it.
There you go.
You know, and just being able to be conscious, be aware enough to recognize that.
You bet. And that takes, you know, and that takes some experience. It takes some mental fortitude to, instead of just reacting to a situation, to think about what the situation is and lose your emotion to that situation, to actually think about what's fixing to go on.
That's it.
And, you know, I'd followed Jocko Willink, you know, and this morning his main deal was they were talking about police brutality and the chokeholds and all that. And it's all about training. And that's what, you know, I agree with him 100% on that. It's all about training. It's all about being put in those stressful situations over and over and over and over, a controlled environment that you can control it and you can figure out how you are going to react in that situation and what you need to do to take the emotion away from it.
That's it.
People react to, and in my opinion too, people react to emotion, not necessarily the situation. Whether it's training a horse, whether a cow runs off, whether a horse flips over on you and you got to help somebody, you know, dig somebody out from underneath the horse, which we had to the other day at a ranch rodeo. You know, a horse flipped over on my bronc rider and knocked him out, and then spun him up under him and was kicking him in the face when he was knocked out. Not saying that I reacted better than anybody else, but I got to him and got him out while everybody else was scattered. They didn't know what to do, you know. And I took a beating out of it, you know, but it was like, at that time, I didn't even realize that I had taken that beating to get him out of there, but it was that spot where I had to get my man out of there because he was in a spot that he didn't need to be. And so, you know, I assessed the situation, went in and took my licks and got him out. And I had to run across the arena. There was 5 people there before I got there, you know, and so it was that deal where it's like, now whether my meditation or whether, you know, anything of that helped me out, I think about it. At the time, you don't think about it, whether that's, you know, I controlled everything and we got in and got him out and got everything done. And it's like, well, did that help or did that not help? You know, would I acted like everybody else, or was there a reason that I got him and nobody else did, you know? I mean, so you think about that stuff after the fact. And it's like, maybe it does help. You know, maybe it doesn't, but maybe it does.
Whether it does or doesn't, you know, like, you know your mindset, you know what I mean? Like, you know, if you were calm throughout that whole thing, if you were panicking, whether you're reacting out of emotion, you know, or just reacting to the situation.
Exactly.